Hey everybody, welcome back to Quali-Tea time. So, our news for the week is I've actually attempted baking. Not exactly a skill I have maxed out, and not one I've used in years, I want to say. I don't exactly know how long it's been since I've actually baked anything, but you know, I've seen this recipe floating around and I thought I'd give it a shot. So, the recipe I was attempting to make was lembas bread. And I figured since this was kind of a landmark moment, I would strap a GoPro to my head and you could all watch me do it. So, let's go to the footage. And if you were watching that video closely, you will have noticed that I used somewhere in the region of over half a kilogram of flour, and that's what the recipe called for, and honestly I thought that was kind of bleh. Not having baked anything in years, and having had it written down in, cups, because this was an American recipe, of course, half a kilogram of flour didn't occur to me that it might be a bit much. It also probably should have occurred to me to check the expiration date on the blue food colouring that I used to distinguish the two batches, because Fuzz hates cinnamon, so I had to distinguish them somehow. Turns out that blue food colouring expired in 2013. But hey, I'm not dead yet, so that's good. Although, the lembas bread did turn out to look quite nice. I don't know how well I can get this on camera. There we go. Does look quite nice, tastes quite nice as well, but because it contains like half a kilogram of flour, it is incredibly dry. Hope you enjoyed that foray into bakery. Still not quite like building a 13-story tower to build Jaffa cakes and still failing, but you know, an attempt. So, on to the schedule for this week. Wednesday today would have been an episode of Dungeon Maker. Alas, some scheduling issues and some preoccupation with a bunch of other stuff led to me not having enough time to get that episode ready for today, so that will be postponed a little bit. But on Thursday, we are back to Midnight Stories at 11 PM BST over at twitch.tv/lyinginbedmon. It might be something else. I'm going to have a word with a certain someone and see if we can arrange a certain something else, but it's probably Midnight Stories. Then on Friday, we have another episode of Edgington with a rather difficult goblin-based assault. I didn't honestly think that this particular kind of enemy was that much of a threat anymore. Turns out, Can be when there's a bunch of them. Saturday we have the postponed Dungeon Maker Tomb episode. I know at least one person wanted to see me do the goblins, but more or less everyone asked for the tombs. It's going to be a fun thing because I've been actually doing a fair bit of research and like investigation into like different tomb-based traps and death traps and the like, and also coming up a little short, so this could be interesting. Sunday we are then back to XCOM 2 with our first Dark Event counter mission. Some very fun names on these counter missions. I'm sure you'll all enjoy that much, if nothing else. Tuesday, we are up to YogDwarves Live number 45. Hopefully moving on to the Ubervidron ritual, and we also happen to have another episode of Night of Thanks. Wednesday, we then have Edgington with a bit more Boulevard progress. Now, it's been a while since like people had any kind of meaningful homeliness in Edgington, so that boulevard cannot come any faster, more or less. On to the questions. So, Lying Answers is always drawn from the questions of the preceding vlog, and if you want to have your question potentially answered in the next one, leave it down below in the comment section. Our first question comes from Lamps on Wheels TR. Will you upload your live streams to YouTube? My live streams are at minimum about 2 hours long, and some of them go on quite a bit longer. Well, people don't have the attention span. Honestly, people barely have attention spans for the 20-minute videos I put out. And I know some people do, a lot of people actually watch my videos for the background noise, but there's also the matter of getting the chat in view for the live streams, because I have a lot of interaction with the chat, so you lose a lot of that if it's just me talking on occasion. So the answer is, I probably won't upload my live streams to YouTube. You can still see the time lapses that I put up for YogDwarves, but that's probably going to be about the extent of it. Why do I keep my hair long? A few reasons, really. The first being, obviously, that I like it this way. The second one is that I started growing my hair long over 10 years ago. Oh god. And there's a thing with a lot of autistic people where we don't like people touching our head. We don't like to get haircuts because it's very close and there's a buzzing blade and it's right by our skull and it's touching these things that are attached to us, all that kind of thing. We don't like the sensation. I started growing my hair longer and longer over time. And then just at some point in secondary school, I think, I just stopped getting haircuts entirely. I was finally allowed the agency to determine that I didn't want to get a haircut. And it's just been growing ever since. So yeah, if I haven't had a haircut in over 10 years, I'm not getting one now. I know a few people would love to see me at a convention with like the tips of it dyed red, but we'll see. Out of 100 episodes, were there any moments in XCOM that you really enjoyed? Asks Fox Crimson. The one that really comes to mind, bearing in mind 100 episodes is a lot of time, like, that playlist is ridiculously long if you try and watch it all the way through. But the one that really comes to mind is the final episode, right when we are facing the Uber Ethereal. We beat it in the dumbest way I can imagine. The game beat itself. Well, two people actually tried to mind control one of my assaults, who just happened to have psionic feedback as their gene mod. So the Uber Ethereal, who's on fairly reasonable health, honestly, tries to mind control that assault, succeeds, gets the feedback, and it's the feedback that kills the Uber Ethereal. Not one of my people shooting it, not any activated ability I could have used, but the Uber Ethereal's own attempt. The game beat itself, and I love that. How do you develop your characters? This was asked by two people, Serana Dragon and Severus. Mostly, the ones that are most developed are the ones that get their full series. So Yokai Temple Lying, Witch in the Woods Lying, and Night of Fangs Lying all have fairly rigorous development. The bulk of it is written to appear on camera. Generally speaking, their backgrounds are vague and nebulous because it's not necessarily something that you need written down on camera. If it is, then it gets written down later. For the most part, I develop them in terms of how their character arc will be, what they'll get up to, what their high points will be, what their low point will be, when it happens, in what order, that kind of thing. But the other characters are more or less snapshots of a person. They're photographs. You can tell these qualities of them, and you don't really need to know much more because they only appear right here, right now. If they appear later on, maybe they get more, like, development. They probably will get more development very soon, actually. There's like 3 or 4 Lyings that get introduced in the course of this year, who I'm sure everyone will enjoy. But that's enough questions for now, and enough teasing from me. So I hope you all enjoyed this Quali-Tea time. I will, of course, see you next week on Wednesday for another one, so leave your questions in the comments before then, and I'll catch you all next time.